Welcome to Soul Interviews on soulandeffect.com. The sound of emotions.
You caught me.
Because I know you're an extremely busy guy. I know a few people that work as hard as you do. Do you live and breathe music, more or less?
Yeah, I wrote an album called Music Fan First, and the reason why is because I realized that it was something that was very helpful to my steps. So yeah, music is not only something I enjoy creating and working on and playing, but in my dark times, it's probably what I play to help me climb out and get to the sunlight.
Yeah, I read on your official website. You said, quote, "I thank God for not having my temporary prayers answered," and by that you mean that it's probably during the difficult times that you are the most creative.
Yeah, and at times also, what you think you may want in the moment wasn't really best for you, you know? So things had to work out the way they worked out for me to meet and marry my wife, or for us to have the kids we had, as well as, I had vocal cord surgery, some time ago. That was probably 10 plus years ago. And as much as when it was happening, it was devastating. And I prayed I wouldn't need this surgery. It strengthened my voice in a way that gave me a new life. Like I able to sing more, talk more now. So, now I'm over 50 years old now. I can look back and go, yeah, some of the things that I prayed for, I'm glad I didn't get, you know, and I think God knew better. So, but you're also right. I think I'm one that when I'm in my happiest moment, I write about it. When I'm in my saddest moment, I also write about it. And I think that's the great part about art.
I interviewed Byron Stingley. I'm sure you know him, and he went through the same kind of surgery as you did with his vocal cords, and it was also very traumatizing for him. As a powerful vocalist, you live with your voice. It's your expression. It's your air. And then you went and you maybe don't know how the outcome will be. Did you have discussions with we shouldn't stick to that, but did you have any discussions with your doctors that you were concerned about the outcome?
Yeah. I mean, they'll tell you before any major surgery, there's the pros and cons, the percentages of, things that couldn't work. If it doesn't work, and I had a blood hemorrhage on my vocal cord, if that really damaged, we're going to the point of, it's a chance I wouldn't have been able to sing again. So it was not the easiest time, but it made me stronger getting through it. And I think, it's not the worst battle. There's people battling cancer and other things that are life threatening, but it was something that was really heavy for me, and I'm glad I got through it. And praying for other things. I try to share as much information because there's other things that go through it as well that hopefully can help them.
You have been around more or less since the mid 90s. You had a release in the 90s already that was not published or released. What was that for a story?
Well, I had a single called The Moon that came out in 1994. I was signed to Warner Brothers and then immediately got signed to Island Records after that deal didn't work out. And neither deal worked out. But at the time, like most people, I was working on the album, and the album never came out. And as a songwriter and a producer, I've watched for years, I mean, thousands of artists that had that opportunity when, I am fortunate that another opportunity came around, or also that independent side came around where I was able to start releasing music and trying to figure out how to build my audience. So I look at it, I mean, in hindsight, once again, the temporary prayer aspect, I really believe that the record that if the record did come out when I was 21 years old, I don't know if you and I are talking 30 years later. You know what I mean? Um, I don't know if I was the songwriter I needed to be or the artist I needed to be at the time. I had to work to get to that point, and losing record deals and kind of going back to school and figuring out life only made me better. So, it hurt. It stung when it happened, you know, but it's another one of those things where I'm really happy with how things turned out.
The first album, P Wine, was released on a label called P Wine. Was that also an independent label, or?
Yeah. Yeah. Those are some guys I was working with at the time. Yeah.
After that, you started your own label, and you have been a pioneer when it comes to independent music, especially in soul and R&B. I think of you and Rasan and McComb, Frank McComb. You three, I think, are the pioneers when it comes to independent music.
Mm-hmm.
Was it a decision for you? Were you in a position after the P Wine release that you wanted more control, or was it a way for you to survive in the industry, to release, to launch a label of your own?
I think a lot of it, yeah, more you're doing music, the more you're learning and say, okay, well, I'm starting to figure out how I want to release and share this music. But at the same time, I was also seeing the difficulties that existed for major artists. So I just really tried to focus more on just being able to share as much as I could. P-Vine were great guys, and doing some great things as well. But we were mostly just kind of independent and partners and trying to figure it out. But it probably happened even before the P-Vine. I had a record called Esoteric that we just kind of just released it. But that wasn't really, I was just a songwriter. I was like, man, just here, you know. But I just didn't want to get lost in the sauce. I didn't want to be one of those artists that, but I had a chance and a whole bunch of songs got lost and now I'm doing something else. I was like, man, I was willing to give away the songs for free. The fans that started getting the albums challenged me to learn the business side. And I took up that challenge, which then eventually led me to, start having my own label. And here we are now. We've been able to run this for 25 years now. So I've been really happy with that.
2.5 decades. It's a really impressive.
Yeah.
And the 18th studio album is also on the way.
Yeah.
And between all these studio albums, you have been working with numerous other artists on projects, and you have been working as a professor as well on Berkeley in Boston. And then I assume that you know Barry J. Eastman maybe very well, the producer from New York. I think he has been working there or worked there, and Gordon Chambers, another guy I think who has been involved. How was that to be asked to become a professor on the maybe the most prestigious school of music in the world?
Right. It's an honor. It's intimidating, because I was in the songwriting department, and the other teachers were so incredible, but the students were really amazing. I was really there to look for the younger version of myself, So I taught a business class, taught several songwriting classes, but really every class was like, hey, what are you looking to do? Whatever, I'm an open book. And I probably learned just as much as the students did in the time of really teaching. It's really amazing, man. I mean, I love teaching. I pretty much have always taught in some form or fashion, but that was another level, that was another level. I don't teach at Berkeley anymore, but I'm still really cool with the dean and everybody there, and look forward to getting back and talking with the students whenever I can.
But from the outside, when I look at your career, you seem you are very unique in the way I think you are moving forward in your career, because you have always been doing your own thing all the way. Is it important for you to stay true to yourself and to not compromise, or to do just exactly what you want to do and not something in the middle, if you know what I mean? Has it been important to
Yeah,
be in integrity with yourself?
100%. I mean, especially now. I mean, I'm 51. I've been in this business for over 30 years. You know, I've seen it work. I've seen it not work. So for me now, I'm asking a new question. What is success today now? What is purpose now? Like, you know, not what it was yesterday. What is it now? And I think the new album, I think, really shows a lot of me asking those questions and being true to myself about it. You know, but you're right. I never was one who like, I got to work extra hard to get in this particular circle or get the approval by my peers. If they approve, all good. If they don't, all good. I think the needle still moves, you know. But I think for me, completing whatever I find in my head, whether it's a marketing plan, whether it's music, I think is very fulfilling for me. And that's kind of what success means. So by the time I'm sharing it with the world, it's kind of already won for me. And that's kind of how it's always been. Yeah, yeah. I mean, my dad is sitting right here, was standing right here while I'm talking with you. And my mom started her own business when I was in high school, and I think that's one of the things that kind of gave me my independent mentality. Um, and I always say, like, you know, my grandfather would used to say, always do the first thing first, you know, and then putting the right one step at a time and stuff. So I've always listened to my elders, my parents, my family, my loved ones, and try to follow in their footsteps in what they did in life that was successful and meaningful, so that I can kind of make my impact as well.
New album on the way to be released in 6 days or seven, maybe a week from now. Beautifully all over the place. What can we expect from that album, Eric?
A little different sound from me. I think you'll have some of the things that you're used to, but we really were chasing ideas. I kind of wanted to introduce tempo again, really get the tempos up to another level, um, and really write about the certain things that I've been thinking about and talking about in my life over the last 2 weeks. I mean, 2 years. I mean, you know, I'm one who wakes up every day and I ask myself, where do I want to go today? Not in a physical standpoint, like where if I want to go to Sweden, but where do I want to go in my life? Like, what do I want to accomplish today as a father or as an artist or a husband or a friend? And I think that's starting to show up in the music more. So that's pretty much. I think people are going to find a new experience. I say, give it a chance, and it might take you on a ride.
I mean, we know you're an excellent songwriter, but music-wise, is it more at the contemporary R&B side, or is it more back to classic soul, or is it a mixture of everything?
I think it's beautifully all over the place. It's a mixture of everything. It's if you're a soul artist, I think to me, I've always been a fan of soul music in a way of that I look for soul music in everything. So I look for soul music in a rock band. I'm a fan of orchestration that has soul in it, right? Something about a rebellious independence to the creative direction that the music is going. And I think this album kind of is in that spirit. So if you're a soul artist, I think you'll love it. If you're an R&B artist, I think you'll love it. But it crosses the line in a couple of other areas too, you know. And I think it's probably also the example of where I'm going musically for the next years to come as well.
I interviewed the late George Duke maybe a decade ago, and we talked about if music can be soulful, and we both agreed on everything that you express, and if it touches someone else, it's soul.
Yes,
So
sir.
it can be
That's right.
music, or it can be maybe a look or a touch or anything that touches
Yeah.
the other part. I think that's the whole meaning. You should feel music and not analyze.
What? Well, you did the right thing mentioning George Duke. I mean, I'm a huge fan of him as a person, and as his song "Someday" might be my favorite song of all time, if not top five. So yeah, but he's absolutely right, and it's an honor to meet him and play with him for the time while before he passed.
Hopefully, Eric, we can get a Grammy for you now. You have had a couple of nominations, and that's really not bad at all. Were you disappointed by those, or were you happy with those?
I think a little bit of both. For me, I was an independent artist getting nominated, and at that time, it was unheard of in R&B and soul to be nominated. Um, so I think for one, I was just happy to be nominated. But now we have people winning, so I'm honored to be part of the bricks that was built for things to be nominated and win. And if it's in the cards in the future, I'll be honored. But we'll take it all in stride.
Time flies, Eric, and finally, a question: is underground the new mainstream, you think?
That's a good question, because if underground is the new mainstream, I don't know if it's still underground. You know, I think it's always kind of like, uh, I yeah, well, for me, it's something becomes progressive, and to me, I always say this: the norm is not the norm till it's the norm, right? So as me, I'm always trying to think of something next, the sound that's next. And then one day it'll become the norm. And when that happens, someone else will be thinking about what's the next thing that happens. So, uh, but I will say, in this day, way the business is set up and things of that nature, I think from an independent or from an underground standpoint, everybody has a chance to be heard and seen. So if you have something to say, I say, you might as well say it.
What's unique with the new release, Beautifully All Over the Place, released on July the 23rd, is that you start to release the album on ericrobertsonmusic.com, your own website.
Yeah. We're not going to release it on streaming platforms right away. We're waterfalling the record, meaning we're dropping a single every month. And probably around the seventh single, we'll release the album and go from there. But I think we are trying to present the album in the way we created it and try to hold a little of that control. Music is digested so much faster now, especially with streaming, that we want to just kind of slow that process down a little bit and hopefully allow people to appreciate the singles or come to the website to get the full project how we intended it to be heard.
Finally, when you produce your songs now or write your songs now, do you think different now, that you need to attract the listeners much quicker now than maybe 10, 15 years ago? I interviewed Monte Moyer, the producer and keyboardist, and he said that it's no idea to have long intros these days because people consume music a different way. Is that something you
Right.
think of, or you just write the way you always?
I should. From a business person, I should. Do I? I don't necessarily know I follow that. I'm still chasing, but I also know better than to make a 4-minute intro, to a song right now, because the way things are now, no one's willing to sit through it, or a small percentage. The majority is not willing to sit through it. So you do need to listen to your audience to some degree and curtail your artwork to complement that.